Hello, Stephen, Anthony, welcome. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Cooking with the Independent Foodie. I'm just trying to get the iPad working. For some reason today it's not going to the right page, but we'll be there in a second and then we shall start. Brilliant. Okay, here we go. That's more like it. Let's just turn that around and you can see your comments. Brilliant. Marion, welcome. Thank you also for joining. I think the lovely weather today means most people won't be joining us, which is fine. We're going to be making the Thai green chicken curry today. And we're going to be doing it slightly differently today. Traditionally, I would normally cook it together with the actual paste in the beginning. But today we're going to do the chicken slightly separately. We're going to fry off the chicken and we're going to sort of then bring that back in. So as we normally do, I'm going to take you to the ingredients. Richard, thank you for joining as well. Nice to have you on. Hope you're all feeling fine today. It's been a bit of a struggle this morning for me, but we're here and we're going to cook together. Right, so ingredients, like I said, today we've got some lovely basil. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Thai basil, so we're using the normal basil. We've got some red chili for garnish and also some for the chicken later on. And then we've got our fresh limes that I've sliced up here. So we'll be using that. And a bit of coriander for garnish as well. So Sheila, welcome as well. So today we're going to be I'm using baby courgette. I've cut these up into little pieces. So they're roughly around this size. That's going in there. Got that done. And I've also got some of these, what you can call them, sugar snaps or snow peas. Didn't quite get snow peas, so they're sugar snaps, what we're using today. And that's going to be going in there. And then I've cut up my aubergine earlier on today. So I've got some aubergine in here and we're going to be adding that to the dish. So very important with the aubergine, you're going to cut them into nice little cubes. So little cubes like that, roughly, is what we want to be doing. Okay, so let's drain that out. Okay, so that's good to go. And then we've got our coconut milk. So we're using 400 mils of coconut milk. So I'm using that. I've also got a bit of galangal. So galangal is a bit like ginger. So I'm going to use to fry the chicken. So galangal, a bit like ginger, similar sort of flavor. And then we've got the kaffir lime leaf, which is also going to be going in. Now, I'm using a bit of chicken stock today. So about 200 ml of chicken stock. I've added my fish sauce to the chicken stock. So roughly about, I've been a bit generous. It should be around a tablespoon. I put a tablespoon and a half of the fish sauce. I like the fish sauce. It is very smelly, but it does add to the actual flavor profile of your Thai green curry. And then if you haven't made your own paste, good for you. Just buy it. It's so much simpler. And the quality of the Thai green paste is such good quality now. You don't need to make it at home. It is labor intensive and it takes lots of ingredients. So Richard and I discussed this yesterday. We said, you know what? It's good just to buy it from the store. So I recommend ploy. Really, really good brand. Amazing flavor that you'll get from this Thai green paste. But if you want to make your own, I've posted the ingredients on the actual page. You can grind those together and create your own paste at home. Right? Yeah, Charlie is busy in the background, so Sheila. He's playing on his cage. He'll start shouting in a second or two, I'm sure. Okay, and then we're using 600 grams of chicken. I've cut them roughly into 2.5 centimeter pieces, just so we get an even consistency when we start to fry that off later on. Let's cover all of the ingredients. And then salt and pepper to taste, and we're going to be using vegetable oil today to cook, right? So let me bring you down to the pans, and then we're going to start to cook. So get this pans up ready and warmed. We're going to get 2 pans going, one for the actual paste and the sauce. The second pan I'm going to be using to do the chicken in. So the one with the chicken is going to go up to about 7. Let that heat up. And this one's going to be for the paste around 6. Okay. I've also made some nice jasmine rice to go with this, so we'll be serving that later on with jasmine rice. And I'm going to bring you down. There you go. Right, so you're going to watch that pan over there and the one at the back. So let's start off with the one, actually, let's swap those around. Bring that there. 8. Just so you can see it very clearly. and that one will bring down to 6. Okay, let's start with that. So roughly we're going to put about 2 tablespoons of oil into the frying pan and let that heat up. Now normally I'm always tempted to add a bit of garlic to my chicken whenever I fry chicken off, but today I'm going to resist that urge and just stick to keeping it very, very basic. And we're only going to use galangal, salt and pepper with the actual chicken pieces. Now, like I said, there's different ways of doing this. What I tend to normally do, I would actually cook the chicken together with the paste. So I'm not doing that today. Today I'm doing it separately. I'm frying the chicken off, so I'm partially cooking the chicken, and then I'm going to reintroduce it back into the actual sauce later on to infuse that flavor from the actual Thai green paste. So Charlie suddenly decides he wants to speak. Okay, so let's get that ready. Now, the good thing about the ploy is it comes in this handy bag, which sits in this container. And, you know, as long as you seal it properly, it can sit in your fridge for a good 1 to 2 months. And you can get many curries out of this. For every 200 grams of chicken you're using, 50 grams of paste is what you tend to add to the pan. Now, those of you who like making paste from scratch, you know, go for it. I know this may sound like a very lazy way of doing it, but it's also very economical by buying the paste. It's like £1.50 or £2.50, depending where you buy it, and you get a good couple of curries out of that. So buying the fresh ingredients also obviously may give it a bit more flavor, but I'm sticking with the good stuff, which is probably used in most restaurants anyway, right? So we're just waiting for the oil to warm up in that pan, and then we're going to add another 2 tablespoons. Oops, sorry. Just turn the stove off there. Probably another tablespoon of oil into the pan at the back. Set the sides to heat. Okay, take these lids away. Sorry, it's a bit slow at the moment because we're getting these pans warmed up. But once we start to go, it's going to be a very quick cook today. Roughly about 25 minutes. And then we'll be able to eat something great at the end of it. So you don't have to add oil to the pan when you're sort of browning your paste, but I'm going to add some. I want to add about a tablespoon of oil to that, just to fry off that lovely paste. Because what happens is, what you're looking for eventually is a separation of the paste and the milk, the coconut milk, when we add it later on. So that will start to happen. And I'll talk you through that at that point. Right, to start off the chicken in the back pan, I'm going to add, chicken in the front pan, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of the paste. Let this open properly. Okay, so a tablespoon of the paste roughly into this pan, which I'm going to just sort of fry the chicken off. But I also want you to infuse some of that flavor in there. Now, people have different ways of making it. This is the way I tend to make mine. So you might think, what's this crazy guy doing? So let's make it hot. Sorry, now what's the time? Okay, so 600 grams of chicken going in there. Okay. And then you want to add about a teaspoon of salt to that. And then some black pepper. Charlie is being very, very chatty, so please bear with me. I'm going to add some fresh red chili to that as well. And a tablespoon of the galangal. That's 3 teaspoons. 1, 2. Okay, that's 3 teaspoons, 1 tablespoon. And we'll keep Charlie quiet with cleaning the feet. Hopefully we'll keep him quiet for a bit. There we go. Okay, that's Charlie's treat given, so he'll keep quiet, hopefully for a couple of minutes, while we get this cooked done. Hira, welcome. Chris, nice to have you as well. JC. So what we're doing the Thai green curry slightly differently today. We're going to pan fry the chicken so it's almost cooked, roughly about 7 minutes, together with a bit of galangal, some chili, salt, pepper, and a bit of the Thai green paste. And we're going to infuse that later on into the actual Thai green curry. So we're making the actual base of the Thai green curry paste, the Thai green sauce at the back. Now, whilst the chicken is going to sort of cook off here, I'm going to focus my attention on the actual green curry sauce. Okay, so just chop that up. Get that done. I'm actually going to swap these around, so I'm going to move this to the back. We'll let that cook. I'll put some focus here. Okay, up. 7, bring that down to 6. Okay, so what we want to do now is start off by frying your paste. Now remember I said 50 grams roughly for every 200 grams of protein you're putting in. In this case we're using chicken, so I'm going to add six tablespoons of my paste. And remember, if you don't want a very strong curry, you can add less. 45. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That should be enough. So that's going to go in there. Okay, and then we just let that fry off. And what you want to start to see is the oils coming out of this paste. Now remember, this paste is made with oil. It's got turmeric in it. It's got, what you call them, dried shrimp in there. Now, this if you're making it from scratch, you'd put those things in there. It's got a bit of cumin in there, a bit of coriander. And then you've got your, obviously, your lemongrass, etc. that you would add to make this paste. And like I said, for those who just joined us, the recipe for making the paste is on my page, but today we are not making it from scratch. We are using made ploy, in case you are wondering. Full declaration that it is obviously the paste that we are using from the store. And what you want to do is just let this fry off, right? So in a couple of minutes what you'll start to see is a bit of oiliness coming out of there. And then we're going to add some of our coconut milk to it. And what should start to happen as this cooks, so what we're going to use is the white part of the coconut milk, and we're going to add that to the paste. You want to fry this paste up for about 5 minutes. Just put that on for 5 minutes, the timer. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to just remove some of this, the white bits of the coconut milk. We don't want the other bits. So that's roughly about 60 mils of the coconut milk, and you just want to sort of mix that through this paste and let that actually fry. And you want to then see the separation between the paste and the oil coming through the coconut milk. Now you get this lovely smell of the coconut milk and the sort of Thai paste as well. Okay, just mix all that through. Just let that boil through. Make sure you mix that through thoroughly so there's all the coconut milk's infused into that paste. Okay. And just make sure you don't burn that. Right? So now that's up to temperature. I'll put it to about 5 and just let that cook through. Yeah, Charlie is being a character, said Marion. So move that, sorry. All these. Okay. And you're going to mix that through. really being vocal today, Charlie. Okay, so we just really want to keep mixing that to make the little chicken cook. Some of it's still pink. We've got about 3 minutes to go more before the chicken is partially cooked. And then we're going to bring that back into the main dish. Now remember, if you're making this dish, you can add any vegetables you like. Some people add mini potatoes. Some people tend to add, I've seen mushrooms go in there. I sometimes use the baby corn. That also tastes quite nice. But so you're keeping it very, very simple. And remember, you can also add prawns to your chicken if you wanted to. It's, you know, anything really goes. That's 3 minutes more to go for those to be done, as in the separation of the cream and the paste, and the oiliness coming through. And once that starts to get to that level, we'll then add the chicken back into that. I'll start to add my chicken stock. So we're using 200 ml of chicken stock together with some fish sauce for those who just joined us as well. It's a slightly different way of doing it today. Okay, that paste is browning nicely. You want it to get a bit brown. Just let that cook off there. And the chicken smelling good as well with that galangal. Hi Aubergine, thank you for joining me all the way from South Africa. Nice to have you on as well. You've just missed Charlie being really badly behaved and shouting. Whenever he sees me in the kitchen, he thinks he's getting some food, so he's obviously waiting for me to bring him some food back. And obviously he's disappointed he's not getting any at the moment. Okay, so see our paste is starting to... Okay, we've got a minute to go for the paste. That paste is browning. Mix that through actually. Okay, make sure your paste doesn't get caught. You just want it to go a little brown. And you want to see oil coming through. Which I'm not getting at the moment from mine, which is really strange. I don't think I put enough oil in there. Or maybe the coconut milk I'm using is not fatty enough for it to do that. But you want the paste to go a bit brown. It starts off in sort of a greeny color. You want to let that get a bit darker. Okay, the chicken's looking good. It is part cooked. Check on that. Okay, so remember, you don't want to fully cook the chicken, you just want it sort of partially cooked. And you bring that back into there. Okay. Okay, so that chicken's done. You can reduce that and turn that off. Now, what we're going to do is add a bit more of the coconut milk back to this. There's a bit of water in there. Okay, so we've done about 100 ml of coconut milk into this base. Okay, so now we should, what's not happening, it should be happening, is I'm supposed to be seeing the sort of oiliness coming out from this coconut, but I think my coconut's not oily enough. Maybe it's a low-fat version of coconut milk that I've used. Okay, but it's almost there, it's brown enough, so I'm not going to keep it up much longer. I'm going to start bringing in the bits and pieces. So what you want to do now is add your chicken. Okay, so that's the chicken going in. So that paste. Get those juices in there as well. The galangal, the red chili, Now at this point you want to introduce your chicken stock, right? So remember, we said 200 mils of chicken stock. I've added a tablespoon and a half of fish sauce in there, so that's going in now. And that should have, it's got quite an intense smell, the fish sauce. So if you don't like fishy smells, then unfortunately, you know, you're going to have to bear with that because it is quite smelly. However, saying that, it has amazing flavor. I think Charlie's really bored. Okay, so that's gone in. Now you've got this lovely sort of infusion of the stock. You've got the Thai green paste in there and the coconut milk. We're going to add the rest of the coconut milk. Now, very important at this point, remember the vegetables cook at different levels. So the aubergine needs to go in first because aubergine takes a bit longer to cook. So add your aubergine. So I'm adding my aubergine in now. And top tip, obviously, if you cut your aubergine early, soak it in water or it will start to go brown. And you don't really want that because it can be quite unattractive if it does go brown. So aubergine's going in there. That's roughly 1 aubergine that I've used. And I've cut that up. Okay, so you want that to go in there. Mix that nicely through. And when your aubergine's almost cooked, then we're going to start to add some of the other things. So this is going to be just cooking for at least about another 3 or 4 minutes first before we add the other ingredients. And we have to wait for this to come up to temperature again because remember, we're adding more coconut milk to it, right? So now the rest of the coconut milk is going in there. And that should lighten the color of that curry. Okay, you just really want to mix that through. Get all those lovely flavors. Now, the other thing to say is, if you don't like lots of chili, you don't want it to be too hot, then there's no need to add the extra red chili that I've added, right? I'm adding the red chili purely because I want a bit of a kick, and also it makes a lovely garnish at the end when you're sort of putting the other sort of flavors and spices in sort of coriander and the basil as well, right? So there we go. Just realised the lighting's not on, so there we go. That's much better. You can see things, hopefully see things a bit better. Okay, and then that's all nicely mixed through. Now all you got to do is sit back and wait for 3 minutes and let that sort of simmer in the background. At this point, a squeeze of lime in there. Just a little squeeze of lime. I like lime. Nice and fresh. And then also later on when you're serving it, you can add more lime to it, to your taste. It just gives it a lovely freshness, together with the coriander and that basil. Okay, so let's just let that cook. Get the lid back on that. And at this point, I want to give a massive shout out and a thank you to Richard and to Marion for their kindness. I got this amazing gift given to me, which I'll share with you all. So some of my favorite things. So firstly, I got this lovely bag of Bolton Brown goodies in there, which is fantastic. So thank you guys, really, really appreciate that. Yeah, so it's, oh, there's something else in here. Oh, and there's lovely chocolates as well. Thank you. Didn't see the chocolates last night. And there's a lovely bottle of monkey shoulder as well. But the most amazing thing, which I really, really appreciate, so we've got this lovely Wildcat bramble flavored gin. That was monkey shoulder, because there's a monkey in it. But more importantly, and the thing I love the most, is this beautiful card, which also includes Charlie in it. So, yeah, Charlie is being very naughty. So it's this lovely card, and what they've done is taken a collection of photos and memories of us together with Charlie, and sort of it was just so great to have this and to get this yesterday. So thank you guys. I do this for you, for all of you, and I did it for myself as well. So there's no need to thank me for doing this during lockdown and for sharing the recipes, because it's all about giving back to everybody. So, but anyway, I do appreciate it, and thank you very much for that. We were having a very interesting conversation last night as well, and we we're talking about obviously people with gyms opening tomorrow, everyone getting very excited to get back to the gym. So hopefully all of you are not too excited about the gym and you're focusing more on your food. But we're talking about sort of fat shaming people, and lots of people will be carrying an extra few pounds, myself included, after this lockdown. But there's no need to be harsh and horrible to people. It's about sort of just letting them be. And if they choose to go out and decide to walk every day and do their 10,000 steps, or if they choose to change their lifestyle over the next couple of months to lose that weight, then good for them. But if people are still carrying that weight, then we should just let them be and not be harsh and judge people. So that's most of the messaging really that we're talking about. I know we haven't had a message last week, and I got one really annoyed person saying, "We didn't get a message this week, Dion. You seem to just rush off the screen." And it wasn't Sushila. Sushila's always nice to me. Yeah, but I think I just thought it would be good to talk about that, because I know we're all going to be a bit, unless we have been training throughout the entire period, and I haven't been doing that, that's for sure. I've been eating and cooking, as you all know, and really enjoying it, so I'm not feeling guilty at all, right? And neither should you. So just enjoy every moment, eat, make the most of it. Tomorrow when the pubs reopen and you get a chance to go with your friends and sit down in the back gardens and enjoy that beer that you've not had for, I don't know, a year and a month, just make the most of it. But think about those friends. Think of all the nice things you're going to say to them, and don't remind them of all the extra weight they're carrying. Just say to them, how wonderful to see you. And as Sushila always says, if you don't have nothing nice to say to anybody, then don't say anything. Okay, so let's get back to the dish and have a look at what's going on down here. It looks like the stove has turned itself off, which is not great for us. Okay. But you really want that aubergine to cook. The worst thing you could ever do is serve aubergine that's really hard and horrible. So let's go back down there quickly, have a look at that. What's going on in there. Okay, hope you can all see that. Brilliant. So my aubergines have only slightly cooked. They're not quite where I need them to be, unfortunately. So it is going to take a few more minutes. But what I would say is, when you're making this at home, obviously make sure that the aubergine is properly cooked. I'd rather sort of take a few more minutes and make sure that it is slightly softer before we add the courgette. Otherwise, what you're going to end up with is a green mush of vegetable in there, and you don't want that. If you were adding prawns as well, you just wait towards the end, probably the last 2 or 3 minutes before it's fully cooked, and then you introduce your prawns. Top tip is it's better to fry the prawns outside in a pan with a bit of ginger, garlic, and chili, and then add the prawn to the dish at the end once it's cooked. Otherwise, you end up with rubbery prawns, and nobody wants a rubbery prawn. Okay? Okay, Charlie wants some of the vegetables, so I'm giving him some veg, and hopefully that keeps him quiet for a bit longer, unless he throws it on the floor again. Okay, so that's starting to cook. I can smell the sauce, make sure it doesn't catch. I have increased the heat a bit, so it is cooking faster than it normally would cook. I would say, if you're doing it at home, keep it stable around 6 or 7. I've got it around 8 or 9 at the moment, but that's just to get the temperature up so we can start to cook the aubergine a bit faster, so that you can go and enjoy the last bit of the sunshine, if there's sunshine left in your area. And the other great news is we get to go get haircuts this week. Now, I've been really struggling. I've been cutting my own hair. It was looking great up until last week, and this week it seems to just have grown overnight. So it's looking a bit messy. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing that. And also looking forward to seeing the friends that I haven't seen so far because of lockdown. So yeah, that's going to be quite exciting. I hope all of you have made some great plans. Okay, so for those who have just joined us, remember we're making the Thai green curry today. The aubergines is currently waiting for the aubergine to get a bit softer, and then I'm going to introduce my courgette. You want the aubergine soft, but not to a point where it's sort of just falling apart in there. You want to keep it a bit firm, so that by the time everything else is added, it just is al dente. And now I think we can actually start to introduce the courgette to that. Okay, just make sure you don't put the water in there. Put enough liquid in there. Just adding my courgettes. I've used baby courgette. You could add normal courgette or any vegetable of your liking. Like I said, some people add mushroom, button mushrooms. You can also add baby corn. They go quite nicely in there. You can add some green pepper if you want as well. It's up to you. And because the sugar snaps are very, very tender, they will go in like when the dish is almost cooked, because you don't want them to lose that texture, or they go very, very slimy. You want to keep sort of nice color, and you want to have nice flavors in there as well. You don't want mushy vegetables in a Thai green curry, because when you go to a restaurant and eat it, you normally find it's got nice big chunks of vegetable in there. So that's what we're trying to replicate today with the dish. Okay, so just let that cook for another 2-3 minutes. Set the timer on that. And yeah, just share with me all the exciting things you're going to be doing this week when you get to have some freedom back. Obviously, the UK is coming out of lockdown in different phases. The next phase tomorrow is about some sense of normality with the gyms reopening, some of the retail stores reopening as well. I know people who have been starved from shopping will be out there spending their cash and bringing life back to the high street. But please do so responsibly and sensibly, like we always say, make sure you're wearing your mask, etc. And social distancing as it's still required. Dineshri, thank you for joining as well. It's always great to see new faces coming on every now and then on the screen. Yeah, so that's looking great. The aubergine started to get the texture I like it, which is good. And those courgettes are starting to cook as well. Okay, so 3 minutes, courgettes will be done. We're then going to add the sugar snaps, and then we're going to start to garnish that dish. Because what you'll find is the sugar snaps cook very quickly. By the time we add the garnish to it, we'll then be ready for plating. So we're almost there. And what I'm going to start doing is getting my rice. So I said I made the rice earlier in the microwave, as I usually do, in my lovely rice steamer. And I blame JC for this because, JC and I have been friends for, many years now. More than 10 years. I'll say it's a good, probably 15 years. And he used to have this rice steamer in his house. And when I moved out, the one thing I had to get was a rice steamer because I really loved using the rice steamer when I lived with him. So that's why I keep using the rice steamer, because it makes great rice in 12 minutes, perfectly cooked. What more could you want? Okay, gotta get that ready for plating. Okay, just pop that down slightly. Okay, so I put that back down to 5 because those vegetables are almost cooked. 2 minutes to go for the courgette. And then I'm going to add the sugar snaps. Okay, just getting the rice plated up. Okay, rice is done. And we'll come back to that in a second. Just garnishing that. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and add, just check that through. beautiful. Just going to check the courgette quickly and make sure it's cooked. Or it's almost cooked. Perfect. Okay, courgette's done. The sugar snaps are going in. Now this has got quite a mild kick, but a kick nonetheless with the red chili. And like I said, for those who don't like chili, there's no need to add the extra red chili. I'm doing it because I wanted a bit of a kick, but also I'm using the red chili for garnish at the end. So the sugar snaps have gone in. They're probably going to be about 2 minutes, and those are going to be soft. Okay, so we'll just let that sit in there for a bit. Cover them up, and then they should be good to go. Now, if you make the paste from scratch at home, what you'll find is a much more greener paste, and obviously you're using just the coconut, it tends to be a lighter color. You end up with almost a whitey green, very pale sauce that goes into your actual curry. When you make it this way, from the actual store-bought paste, it is a darker color, right? So expect that. Now you're going to put some fresh coriander on top, and the most important piece here is you use Thai basil. I'm using standard basil here. Just make sure it's the leaves are going in. It's really going to have some lovely flavor in there. Okay, that's half a bunch of the basil that's going in there. And that's going to infuse a bit more flavor into your dish. Okay, so that dish is almost done. Like I said, roughly about a minute more, and those peas should be lovely and soft as well. And then Charlie will also be very happy because he then gets some attention from me, which is obviously what he wants. Or he just wants food, one of the two things. Okay, at this point you can sprinkle some red chili if you want on top. Okay. I just want to bring it up to the camera and show you what that looks like so you can see it. So that's what it currently looks like. Okay. And then I'm going to get ready to plate that out and then show you what the final dish looks like. So that is the rice that I'm going to be using. A few grains have fallen down, so take that out. And you want to be very generous with the veg and the coconut Thai green gravy or the sauce. Dig in there, get some lovely bits of chicken, aubergine, some basil, and the courgettes, most importantly as well. Okay. It's basically an island of rice swimming in some beautiful, lovely smelling coconut and Thai green paste sauce. So just going to quickly put some more chili on that, the way I serve it. So sprinkle some chili and a bit more coriander on the plate. Okay, and you can put that with, add some lime to that. So add your 2 limes. It's not working the way I wanted to, so let's get a small piece of lime. Add a bit of lime to that, and this is how you would traditionally serve it. I would serve it. So there you go. That is the Thai green curry with a bit of squeezed lime or lemon juice on top, and that should go down really well tonight. So again, thank you all for joining. That has been the Thai green curry. It is smelling amazing, so I hope the neighbours are also going to enjoy it, as I will be enjoying it later on. So thank you all very much. It's always a pleasure to have you all with me. And I'm sure when you try the dish, you're going to let me know whether it went really well for you or not. Like I said, you can make it from scratch, or you can do it the lazy way and buy the paste. The paste is cheaper. It's better than probably than homemade. So yeah, your choice. But if you are making a dish, enjoy it. It's been lovely having you. Have a great week. Be safe wherever you're going. I'll see you all next week Sunday. Take care and goodbye.